Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 8 of the Tessy retreat. This is part of my PhD in integrative medicine coursework. Disclaimer, I am not a licensed practitioner and I'm not a coach. I will be many things after my degree is done, but I am not yet. So if you do think about some things you're learning here, if you want to expand them, if you have further questions, get in touch, but also get advice with an expert in the field and doctor, depending on what you need. So yeah, really, really important. By acknowledging this, that I am not licensed, that I'm also just a student, and I'm doing this because it's part of my coursework, which I need to do 1,000 hours of teaching, of practical work, which I have chosen to do with this retreat, 10 weeks retreat. You agree to this and you understand this. And also to the people looking at this on YouTube, and also the people looking at this and then having one-on-ones with me, you agree to this. If not, turn off the video, because then that is not for you. But if not, welcome, you're still here. So there you go. So today's week 8 we thought to do a body scan, but then we have body scan almost every week within the meditation practice anyways. And so I thought, we are week 8. Next week, we're going to talk about nutrition, all nutrition, the good nutritions to eat, what is very good when you feel anxious, to build up the different minerals and vitamins you need for your body to be supported in order to get stronger again, also for your mind and everything else, if in crisis. So we do nutrition next week. And this week, I thought, instead of the body scan then, which will also be part of the meditation we're doing today, I thought we'd talk about neuroplasticity, which is a really important topic when it comes to meditation and mindfulness. And Dr. Joe Dispenza is a world-class expert on it and scientist. And we will also be using his meditation at the end, where he will give us the meditation that I found for us, which is specifically about neuroplasticity. So yes, today is all about neuroplasticity. I think it's such an interesting topic. We will talk about the types of brain plasticity. We will talk about the benefits of that. We will talk about exercises to do to enhance neuroplasticity, and all of these fantastic scientific facts you need to know when addressing this topic. So let me pull up, as every week, my little slideshow for you. 1 second. Share. And then. So, can you see this? Can you see this screen? Yes, perfect. Yes. Okay, so week 8, neuroplasticity. It's part of my coursework, as I say, and a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed therapist or coach. Just need to do that because, yeah, it is just important, because you never know when people look at it and then they get funny thoughts, because the videos are available online and they are also public. So despite the 85 people who have signed up for this course and who will be looking at this, there's also other people who have access to it. So we welcome everyone, but it's just that everyone knows. So there you go. So neuroplasticity. So the information I have retrieved here, such as the different pictures I will be using in the slides and definitions, and yeah, quite a lot of information is all retrieved from a website called verywellmind.com. And they have really amazing stuff where you can find all kinds of tools and information on everything brain and meditation and well-being. So thank you, Very Well Mind, that people can just access your information and use them. And that's why I thought I use it for this course, because they explain it really well. And why reinventing the wheel if you can just use the resources which are available to you. Thanks God to the amazing Google. So What is neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change and adapt as a result of experience. It is also known as brain plasticity. However, when people say that the brain possesses plasticity, they are not suggesting that the brain is similar to plastic. Plasticity refers to the brain's malleability, which is defined as being easily influenced, trained, and controlled. Neuro refers to neurons, the nerve cells that are the building blocks of the brain and nervous system. Thus, neuroplasticity is when the nerve cells change or adjust. There's two types of brain plasticity. So what is neuroplasticity, aka brain plasticity? I really like this slide. Brain ability to change and adapt. So type 1, structural plasticity, which is the brain's ability to actually change its physical structure as a result of learning. And then we have functional plasticity, which is functional plasticity is the brain's ability to move functions from a damaged area of the brain to the undamaged area. The human brain is composed of approximately 100 billion neurons. Early researchers believed that neurogenesis, or the creation of new neurons, stopped shortly after birth. Today, though, it's understood that the brain possesses the remarkable capacity to reorganize pathways, create new connections, and in some cases, even create new neurons, neuroplasticity. Before I go into how neuroplasticity works, I want to share with you a personal story. When I started my burnout, when I was really ill, couldn't walk, speak, eat, I was shaking, couldn't sleep. It was a really terrible time, and I had really issues. Well, it's something when you have a burnout, and we talked about this the whole 8 weeks now, and so many people wrote me privately and talked to me about their burnouts and their issues and asked me how they can deal with these things, and I really appreciate your trust. So when I had this, it's something people don't see. When you feel unwell, when you have problems with anxiety, depression, or any kinds of other symptoms of burnout, can be all kinds, can be physical, can be mental. People don't always see that, specifically the things that come from the mind. If you behave like a normal person and you're smiling, people don't notice. Like I was smiling, I was still going to work, I was taking care of my children. I actually, at the height of my burnout, there's pictures of me when I went with my children and my ex-husband at that time to the Vatican. And there's pictures of me with the Pope and His Holiness the Pope. And it was the most amazing time. I was very grateful that I could experience this and had a really wonderful time with my children, but I couldn't eat. So for me, the sheer experience of having a tiny noodle in my mouth when we were in Italy was horror, because I couldn't swallow it. It was just so intense. And I remember crying in bed in the evening next to my husband, now ex-husband, Louis, and saying, I don't know what to do. I am hungry, I'm starving, but I can't swallow. I cannot eat. And it's just, and his family was like, oh, come on, it's all fine. And, you're just making it up. And it was really hard because people don't understand what's happening to you. And, making fun when I was eating purees then, because they worked when they were really smooth at the time. But I was just like, oh my God, something is happening and I really need to get help, right? Because I was like, this is just not livable. And what I found, which was really amazing, is that Dr. Zamar in London, in Harley Street. It's very expensive, Harley Street. I'm not going to lie to you, but it was the only one I could find that really could help me. I went to see him and he said, are you taking any medication, antidepressants? I said, no. He's like, fine. He said, great. He said, you with your age should not take antidepressants. He said, it's very, very bad. And especially for the mind of a young woman, he says antidepressants are never a good choice. It helps if it's really bad. And yes, it makes you feel better. And people who are on antidepressants, I'm not judging you. That is just purely my experience and what I have been told. But he said, it's better not. He said, I have an alternative. So there's always cognitive behavioral therapy and so on. And there's apps on the phone you can download, and you can have CBT training from the phone, and it's not expensive and it's fantastic. But where I'm going is that he introduced me to RTMS therapy, which is extraordinary. And that is it's a machine that creates neuroplasticity in the brain. So what it does is that when you have it on the left side or the right side, the left side is depression, the right side is anxiety. And I had anxiety. They put an electric magnetic coil by the side of your brain, and that it almost touches the skin of your skull. And then you get these electric pulsations, very, very fast. It's like someone, like snaps at you. So at the beginning, it's a bit uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt. It's just unpleasant. And, you need to do it every day for a certain amount of time. And it's, 20 or 30 minutes long. So at the beginning, you get a bit of sore there because, it's not something you're in use of. But what it did, it creates these new neurological pathways which have been lost because of anxiety, in my case, and they have had a lot of young women there because of depression, a lot. And that would be the other side, but it's the same thing they do. And it helped me so much that I went from not eating, I couldn't take the bus anymore, I couldn't drive anymore, to being able to do all of that again. Within, 4 weeks, it was so much better. And that's why, I believe in tools for, in alternative tools, which are not medications. RTMS therapy, I'm not going to lie to you, I hope it's better now, because that was years ago and I'm fine. But at the time, it was extremely expensive. Was it because it was Harley Street? I don't know. Was it because it is London? I don't know. So Google it in your country if you need it, or if you know someone who needs it. It was a really good tool, and it helped me enormously. So yeah, just as a side note, and it's important to know that because it helped me a lot. And I want you to know that, that is why we're here. I show you what I do, and I show you what helped me. And I think that was really the beginning, because then you come into a fundamental base where you can start functioning again. Because if you can't walk anymore and eat and sleep as I did, it's like a devil's circle, because you can't get energy, you can't sleep, so you get even more anxious, because you need to sleep in order to also discharge your brain, for the brain to shrink and discharge of the toxins around inside the skull. You know what happens when you sleep, right? And so all of that was not functioning anymore. So just to get that fundamental base, RTMS therapy was amazing, because then I had something to build up on again. I was able to function again with the things that needed to be done in order to just have a normal life. And then, do whatever I did, other things, as I told you before, acupuncture and meditation and retreats and things like that. On retreats, just a little side note, and then we move over to how it actually works. On retreats, if there's some apps, or on Google, if you Google book my yoga retreat, and that this is not an advertisement, it's again what I have done, and it's what I use, and it was spectacular. You find all of these yoga retreats and surfing retreats, or mix with full boards. So they have, normally they do vegan cuisine, but extremely affordable. And you are with other people there. And I did that when the divorce became public, and I really, really needed a break. My mom took the kids, and I went for, 5 days to do a retreat in Portugal. And it was incredible. It was really incredible. So I suggest to do that, ladies and gentlemen, if you can, not because you might have burnout, anxiety, depression, but just because you can. Everyone has a weekend, and there's a lot going on, and there's always stress. But if you can even bring kids. There was people with families there. It's amazing, and it was a really amazing time. So book a yoga retreat. It's super affordable, and it's super great. And I did it, and it was fantastic. So how does neuroplasticity actually work then? The first few years of a child's life are a time of rapid brain growth. At birth, every neuron in the cerebral cortex has an estimate 2,500 synapses, or small gaps between neurons where nerve impulses are relayed. By the age of 3, this number has grown to a whopping 15,000 synapses per neuron. The average adult, however, only has about half that number of synapses. Why? Because as we gain new experiences, some connections are strengthened while others are eliminated. This process is known as synaptic pruning. Neurons that are used frequently develop stronger connections. Those that are rarely or never used eventually die. By developing new connections and pruning away weak ones, the brain can adapt to the changing environment. So we had already the types. Let's go over to the benefits. So the benefits of neuroplasticity, there are many benefits, of course, as you can imagine, right? Allowing your brain to adapt and change helps promote the ability to learn new things, the ability to enhance existing cognitive capabilities, recovery from strokes and traumatic brain injuries, strengthening areas where function is lost or has declined, that is RTMS therapy, improvements that can boost brain fitness. That's also meditation, breath work, as we had last week, and so on. Characteristics then of neuroplasticity. There are a few defining characteristics of neuroplasticity. I don't know why I have so much problems with the words today. Age and environment play a role. While plasticity occurs throughout the lifetime, certain types of changes are more predominant at a specific age. The brain tends to change a great deal during the early years of life, for example, as the immature brain grows and organizes itself. Generally, young brains tend to be more sensitive and responsive to experiences than much older brains. But this is not meant that adult brains are not capable of adaptation. Genetics can also influence. The interaction between the environment and genetics also plays a role in shaping the brain's plasticity. Neuroplasticity is an ongoing process. Plasticity is going throughout life and involves brain cells other than neurons, including glial, G-L-I-A-L, and vascular cells. I cannot pronounce it. Glial? Anyone wants to try it? Glial? Yeah. Anyways, you got the picture. It can occur, and any word you don't understand, you Google or let me know later when we do the Q&A and everything, no problem. It can occur as a result of learning experience and memory function, or as a result of damage to the brain. While people used to believe that the brain became fixed after a certain age, newer research has revealed, as we saw before, that the brain never stops changing in response to learning. An instance of damage to the brain, such as during a stroke. The areas of the brain associated with the certain functions may be injured. Eventually, healthy parts of the brain may take over those functions and the abilities can be restored. Brain plasticity, though, has limitations. It is important to know, however, that the brain is not infinitely malleable. Certain areas of the brain are largely responsive for certain action. For example, there are areas of the brain that play critical roles in movement, language, speech, and cognition. I have a friend of mine, he had a brain surgery. They removed a bad growth and he couldn't speak anymore. And his wife taught him how to speak anymore. So did all the physio with him and everything. And he gained that ability back. He is able now, you would never tell. But that is as well, because that part that is gone, right? That they cut out. But as you just heard, the brain, other areas of the brain can take over these responsibilities. How to improve neuroplasticity? There are a few steps you can take to help encourage your brain to adapt and change. There will be the exercises, but before that, enrich your environment. Learning environments that offer plenty of opportunities for focus, attention, novelty, and challenge have been shown to stimulate positive changes in the brain. This is particularly important during childhood and adolescence, but enriching your environment can continue to provide brain rewards well into your adulthood. Stimulation your brain might mean learning a new language. We go into details more on that later. Learning how to play an instrument. We talked about that last week, also because of the functions with your hands, right? With the thumb yoga, as I mentioned to you, which is very good against dementia and all kinds of other memory functions for your brain, because you always need to keep your fingers going. It helps with all kinds of brain functions, as you learned last week. So if you haven't, go and listen to week 6. Traveling and exploring new places, creating art and other creative pursuits, and reading. We go into all of these later. Get plenty of rest. Research has shown that sleep plays an important role in dendritic growth in the brain. Dendrites are the growths at the end of neurons that help transmit information from one neuron to the other. You know that a neuron looks like it has like little hands and things around, right? By strengthening these connections, you may be able to encourage greater brain plasticity. Sleep has been shown to have important effects on both physical and mental health. Some researchers suggest that this is partly due to genetics and partly due to the makeup of the gray matter in the brain. You can improve your sleep by practicing good sleep hygiene, as we have seen, I think it was week 5, where we talked all about sleep. This includes developing a consistent sleep schedule and creating an environment that contributes to good sleep. Exercise regularly. So regular physical activity has a number of brain benefits. Some research indicates that exercise may help prevent neuron loss in key areas of the hippocampus, a part of the brain involved in memory and other functions. Other studies suggest that exercise plays a role in new neuron formation in the same region. A 2021 study adds that physical exercise also appears to boost brain plasticity through its impact on brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, if you want to Google it, a protein that impacts nerve growth. Functional connectivity and the basal ganglia, the part of the brain responsive for motor control and learning. The US Department of Health and Human Services recommends getting at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity cardio exercise, such as walking, dancing, swimming, or cycling per week, and a minimum of 2 days of strength training exercise, lift weights, or doing body weight exercises. You can do that at home as well, you know, when you clean, when you lift stuff up and everything, just keep moving. Problems with brain plasticity then. Brains, they change. The changes are often seen as improvements, but this is not always the case. In some instances, the brain structure and function can be negatively influenced or changed. For example, brain plasticity can be problematic when it allows detrimental changes caused by substance use, disease, or trauma, including brain injury or traumatic experience that results in post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. Google it, there's a whole body of studies on that, and it's a really important study. When you look at John Hopkins PTSD psychedelics or Imperial College MAPS, MAPS, all about psychedelics and how they address PTSD is pretty interesting, and it's really up and coming. Even lead poisoning can negatively impact brain plasticity. That as well, you know, mercury and all of these other things you find into fish, the ones that are overfished, or tuna, for example, and so on. So always be careful what you eat and what you expose your body with, right? There are also some medical conditions that can limit or hinder brain plasticity. Among them are a variety of pediatric neurological diseases such as epilepsy, cerebral palsy, tuberculous sclerosis, and Fragile X syndrome. Please Google them to familiarize yourself with them. Maybe you know someone who has this. Ask that person or an expert for more guidance on this one. How neuroplasticity was discovered. I thought I'd give you a little bit of a theory on here before we go to the exercises, because I really like history. And it's always interesting because, you know, I'm looking at this Netflix show called Outlander. I'm waiting for the next series now, but I have seen 5. with my husband over the whole pregnancy. That was our thing to go to. And there she's a doctor, actually catapulted to the medieval times because of a Stone Age rock thing or whatever. And she then, because she knew, or she comes from the future, right? She knew all kinds of vaccines and all kinds of medication, which did not exist at that time yet. And she comes up with this, she creates this there. She grows her own fungi to create all of these different medications. She invents the syringe there and things like that. And that always made me think, right? Everything we have comes from somewhere. And so educate yourself on everything, you know. The polio vaccine. Did you know that Henrietta Lacks, because of her, we have it? And there's a book called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which I love, absolutely adore. And it's a real story. And she, her cells in her uterus were extracted on a examination when she was put into the hospital with stage 4 cancer, ovarian cancer. And she was a Black woman in, I think it was New Orleans in the US. I don't know exactly now where she's from. It's a while I haven't read the book. But anyway, she was never asked that her cells were extracted for science. So she, until today, doesn't know what her cells have done to the world. And even though she's already dead since 5 decades, the cells still reproduce. Her cells were the first cells that ever reproduced on a petri dish, which I think is really, really interesting. And because of her, we have the polio vaccination, among many other things. And so I think we need to educate ourselves on where these things come from, right? And the family, they went on there was a lot of conspiracy, because some say the family never got anything from that. You know, the pharmaceutical companies make billions with all of these vaccines, right? And her family, so some theories go, the family has never received anything. Other theories go, okay, the family now, they have been speaking about that, and they have been compensated. So I don't know where it stands now, but yeah, it's a really interesting story. And the book is it's a beautiful book, but it makes you definitely think about where things come from. So read it if you can. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. And it was my favorite book for a very long time. So how it was discovered: beliefs and theories about how the brain works have evolved substantially through the years. Because if you imagine, like at the time, they thought that they needed to roll in some holes into your brain to let off some blood and things like that, or just bleed out because the bad blood needs to come out and stuff like that. Like there's some crazy stuff they did in the medieval times to kind of like cure people. Early researchers believed that the brain was fixed, while modern advances have shown that the brain is more flexible, as we have heard now. So early theories. Up until the 1960s, researchers believed that changes in the brain could only take place during infancy and childhood. By early adulthood, it was believed that the brain's physical structure was mostly permanent. In his book, 2007, The Brain That Changes Itself, Stories of Personal Triumph from the Frontiers of Brain Science, which took a historian look at the early theories, psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Norman Deutsch, so Doidge, suggests that his belief that the brain was incapable of change primarily stemmed from 3 major sources. An ancient belief that the brain was much like an extraordinary machine, capable of astonishing things, yet incapable of growth and change. The inability to actually observe the microscopic activities of the brain, and the observation that the people who had suffered serious brain damage were often unable to recover. Early on, psychologist William James then suggests that the brain was perhaps not as unchanging as previously believed. Way back in 1819, in his book, The Principles of Psychology, he wrote, organic matter, especially nervous tissue, seems endowed with a very extraordinary degree of plasticity. However, this idea went largely ignored for many years. Modern theories then, in the 1920s, researchers Carl Lashley, Lashley, found evidence of changes in neural pathways of rhesus monkeys. By the 1960s, researchers began to explore cases in which older adults who had suffered massive strokes were able to regain functioning, demonstrating that the brain was more malleable than previously believed. Modern researchers have also found evidence that the brain is able to rewire itself following damage, and there will be a rewiring meditation later with Joe Dispenza, which I'm very excited. So modern research has demonstrated that the brain continues to create new neural pathways and alter existing ones in order to adapt to new experiences, learn new information, and create new memories. Thanks to advances in technology, researchers are able to get a never before possible look at the brain's inner workings. There's also on Netflix a series about how smart babies are. It's all about the year one, and I watched it all with my husband, and I learned so much, I must say. And there is a doctor. She has 2 children, and she used her children, and that is like recent, like a decade or something, to create the first brain scan in a what is the machine, in a CAT scan, the first CAT scan of a baby, because putting a baby in a CAT scan, they cannot move, right? It's noisy and it's like that. I don't know if you have ever experienced a CAT scan. I have had several, because I have a aneurysm in the back of my head, which is being observed by the doctors, of course. And my brother died of an aneurysm when he was a baby. So, but it's so annoying, and it's crazy lying in that machine because it is extremely loud and it clicks the whole time. And you get a little bit claustrophobic, well, I do. So as soon as I lay on that bridge, I close my eyes. I'm not even in the tunnel yet. I just close my eyes because I'm like, okay, if I don't close my eyes now and I do it inside, then I get scared. So I just close my eyes. And for anyone who ever will experience this, who hasn't done yet, close your eyes before going into the tunnel and just, count or think something else. Don't imagine where you are. So she actually was able to capture the first CAT scan of a baby, which is amazing. Her child, and it was revolutionary for the whole scientific research on babies and the development of the brain of a young child, of a toddler. So definitely, if you are into that stuff as much as I am, go and watch the Netflix series on that. It's really cool stuff, because they also show about, how preferences are built, that children already at a very young age, in baby stages, already can identify the good and the bad, that they already see, when they got shown some dolls and everything, and they can already identify who is the good doll and who is the bad doll in the way that the theater is being played, and things like that. Really interesting study, and I really loved it. So watch it. I have now some facts, very, very short. Just why is neuroplasticity important? Without neuroplasticity, it would be difficult to learn or otherwise improve brain function. Neuroplasticity also aids in recovery from brain-based injury and illnesses. So guys, you sitting here with me every week for the last 2.5 months, you're working on your neuroplasticity big time, because I always work you so hard. I pack these 1.5 hours with so much stuff that I can see your ears steaming, because I'm steaming and I have prepared it, and still it's just so much to digest. So you're working on your neuroplasticity right now. An example of neuroplasticity: research has found that children with blindness have increased connectivity and reorganized neural circuits when compared with the children without this condition. This suggests that the brain adapts to the inability to see by changing its structure and function, providing children with blindness a greater ability to use the information received from the other senses, such as hearing and touch. Isn't that incredible? So all of this information was retrieved, as I said before. It was written by Crystal Rapol, and for verywellmind.com. So check out the website. I think it's really amazing. Now we go over to Crystal Rapol. I really liked the article she wrote, and I thought it would be really useful. So it's again Healthline, which we love, right? .com. I always use them. I always use them every week for different topics. They just have it, and they have so incredible readings. So there's 6 exercises to increase neuroplasticity. And yes, you heard right, play video games is the first one. My children, Gabriel, Noah, and Julia, will love this specific thing I'm going to say now. They're just going to tell me from now on, if they ever see this video, which they probably will, they will be like, Mama, I'm working on my neuroplasticity, especially Julia. She is such a smart one. She is so good at getting her way. So yeah, I already see that coming. So debate over the potential benefits and risks of video games can get pretty contentious. But if you enjoy gaming, there's some good news. Research trusted source then suggests that this hobby can have plenty of cognitive benefits. The benefits associated with gaming include improvement in motor coordination, visual recognition, and spatial navigation, such as, Minecraft is an amazing game. My kids, they build all of these cities, and they have a Minecraft server here. They have a Minecraft server with my husband. They have a Minecraft server with Julia from Chicago, and then they play together live on that server. And I think it's fantastic because they have these amazing houses they build and villages and everything. And it's just architecturally really interesting. Memory and reaction time. I'm not a fan of shooting games, but that is how I could reconcile with this at some point for the reaction time, because you don't want to be shot. Reasoning, decision-making, and problem-solving skills, resilience, cooperation and team participation, which could also be the VR. Like Noah loves his VR, and he, over the summer, I didn't let them on the VR too much, but the times they were on it, Gabel had his VR in his room, Noah in his room, and then they were playing with their friends in other countries. And even watching a movie, they had like on VR, you have these, you can create like a cinema room. So they were watching a movie together as if they were in the cinema with their goggles on, which I thought was the cutest thing, right? And so, yeah, I think it's very nice for team participation and cohesion and just to stay connected to your friends. In short, when you play video games, you teach your brain new skills. These effects can improve your gameplay, certainly, but they also carry over the rest of your life. To the rest of your life. Learning to recover from failure in a game can help you get better at bouncing back from setbacks. Exploring different solutions to a task in a game can help enhance creative thinking. So different games, different benefits. According to a 2019 review and a trusted source, she says, different types of game may offer varying benefits. 3D adventure games seem to contribute to improvements in memory, problem solving, and scene recognition. Puzzle games help boost problem-solving skills, brain connectivity, and spatial prediction. That's also good for the teachers here on the call today, because, you always need some time fillers. And, if you can do it like that, because I think also now, especially in Luxembourg, a lot of schools have iPads and tablets, right? So use them wisely. They are there, and sadly, they need to be used then, because pen and paper is not always so welcomed anymore, which I don't get. I think they should get equal recognition because, again, the fingers and the hands, it's so important for memory and brain cognition and everything. So I think they should equally get recognition, both of them. So then with the tablets, back to that, rhythm gaming like dance or exercise video games can help improve visuospatial memory and attention. These effects appear to kick in after about 16 hours of gameplay. This doesn't mean you have to play for 16 hours once, just to say that. This actually isn't recommended, okay? I have not said that. But adding a few hours of weekly gameplay to your leisure time can be a great way to improve neuroplasticity. Then learn a new language, as we have already heard before. Even consider studying another language. There's something called Duolingo, and I studied Arabic at university, writing and reading, and I have done a lot of the grammar with Duolingo and the pronunciation of the different Arabic words. And Duolingo is fantastic. It's not expensive, and it's really, really great. So if you want to learn a new language, that is a great tool. Maybe you thought a second or third language may boost your career opportunities, or you wanted to pick it up just for fun. In either case, you'll be doing your brain a big favor. There's plenty of evidence to suggest that acquiring a new language improves cognitive function. Boosts gray matter. In the 2012 study, researchers looked at 10 exchange students who were native English speakers studying German in Switzerland. After 5 months of intensive language study, their proficiency in German had increased, and so had the density of gray matter in the brain. Gray matter houses many important regions in your brain, including areas associated with language, attention, memory, emotions, motor skills. Increased gray matter density can improve your function in the areas, especially as you age. In fact, it's believed bilingualism may offer some protective benefits from a trusted source against cognitive decline. Learning a language at any stage of life could help slow down future decline related to age, including symptoms of dementia. Another 2012 study found evidence to support the idea that picking up a new language increases gray matter density and neuroplasticity. After 3 months of intense study of a new topic, 14 adults interpreters saw increase in both gray matter density and hippocampal volume. The hippocampus plays an important role in long-term memory recall. According to a 2017 research by a trusted source again, learning a second language in adulthood can also strengthen white matter, which helps facilitate brain connectivity and communication between different brain regions. Studying a new language at any age can lead to stronger problem-solving and creative thinking skills, improved vocabulary, greater reading comprehension, increased ability to multitask. You may have heard of online programs and apps like Rosetta Stone, Babbel, and Duolingo. There you go. But you can study languages in other ways too. Hit your local secondhand bookstore for textbook or check your library for books and CDs. Whatever method you choose, try to stick with it for at least a few months, even if you only do 10 to 15 minutes of study a day. Again, when I say by a trusted source and the researchers, if you go to the website where I got this information from that I always mention, healthline.com, and you go to the 6 exercises for neuroplasticity, you can click on these links and extend your research on these specific resources. There's hyperlinks and you will find all of that. 3, make some music. There we have Farah here, our DJ. Music has several brain benefits. It can help improve your mood, ability to learn and remember new things, concentration and focus. Music therapy also appears to help slow down cognitive decline in older adults. Research from 2017 suggests music, especially when combined with dance, art, gaming, and exercise, helps promote neuroplasticity. It can improve movement and coordination and may help strengthen memory abilities. But it doesn't just help prevent additional cognitive decline, it can also help relieve emotional distress and improve quality of life. According to a 2015 review, musical training has also had benefits as a neuroplasticity exercise. Learning to play music in childhood can help protect against age-related cognitive decline and lead to improved cognitive performance in older adults for one. Research also suggests musicians often have better audio and visual perception, greater focus and attention, better memory, better motor coordination. But that is also because you use your hands. It's never too late to learn an instrument, as I told you last week, many times. Online tutorials, and there's Fratello, as I mentioned to you, check out Fratello, the app. You get some amazing stuff there. Online tutorials can help you get started, especially if you don't want to splurge on lessons. Check your local classified ads for used instruments or try out inexpensive options like a ukulele, harmonica, or keyboard. As an added bonus, many people find these instruments pretty easy to learn. Not very musical? That's okay. Even listening to music more regularly can help increase brain neuroplasticity. So turn on your favorite playlist. It's good for your brain. Also, there's these brain wave musics. When you Google brain waves or you go on Spotify or whatnot, and you put specifically brain waves, it gives you these music. Wait, let me show you here. For example, if I go on Spotify and I put brain waves, alpha brain, here we go. Effective beta waves that improve concentration for focus. There's many here. So let me just turn this on for now, so you can hear it. You can hear in the background the vibration, right? That is exactly for the brain. When you use the brain tap, the machine I showed you last week that I just bought, it has that in the back a lot. And the light in the front, it flickers there as well for the light therapy. So yeah, very, very interesting. One fun fact about me, when I studied my master's and before my exams, I would put on music for concentration, brainwave music for concentration while studying because it helped me with the memory. And then each time I was done with one chapter, I would take a 10-minute snooze. Sounds weird, do it. Because when you sleep after each lesson, you remember better. You know, that's kind of like an old grandpa's tale when they said, oh, sleep with your book under the pillow kind of thing. It's really study, take a nap. Study, take a nap. Your body needs time to process, your brain needs time to process it and put it. And then always recap after the nap what you have just studied and then move on. That is how I have done it. And I have always done really well like that. So let's move on. Travel, which we all love, right? If you enjoy travel, here's some more reasons to get out and explore somewhere new, like book a yoga retreat, guys. Or there's another app, which I just showed to a friend of mine who's single. And but even with people, if you have a partner or even with your child, there's so many things you can do. It's called Lucky Trip. Download it. It's so cool. I have used it in the past. It's really not expensive. And they book your plane. They book everything is included. If you put a budget of like, let's say 300 euro, they literally find the plane for you and the place to stay. And I thought, okay, it cannot be that amazing for that price. And I did it. And I went and I had a great time. And it was really clean. It was a very good plane. And the hotel was fantastic. So yeah, check it out. Lucky Trip. So travel may help enhance cognitive flexibility, inspire you, and enhance creativity. Experiencing new sceneries and surroundings can also help you learn about different cultures and become a better communicator, both of which can have additional cognitive benefits. Visiting new places can also help broaden your general worldview, which can help open your mind and give you a new perspective on things closer to home, like your career, goals, friendship, or personal values. If you can't get out in the wider world right now, don't worry. You can still take yourself on a trip closer to home, like taking a long walk through your new neighborhood. And that is what I love about Farah as well. When I visit her in the UK, when I go home there, we always do walks. I think it's so nice. We do walks in Switzerland too. I do walks in Luxembourg. That's the first thing I do each time I get out of the car. I grab my dad and we go for a walk. It's so nice. Doing a grocery shopping in another part of town. I did that as well. I actually took the car and went to the town next to us called Milan here, which, you know, my husband was like, why are you going to Milan? And I was like, well, because they have a Migros there, which is like a Tesco or like a Cactus or whatever. And he's like, well, why are you doing that? I said, well, maybe, you know, I said, maybe I would see Francesca there. She lives there. And, you know, maybe there's some more stuff there that I didn't see here. And it was interesting. It was really nice. And I walked around. I really enjoyed it, actually. Going for a hike, really nice stuff. Come to Switzerland, guys. If you ever come to Switzerland, write me. Virtual traveling. Get started with National Geographic virtual traveling on YouTube. But there's also a new series on National Geographic with President Obama. He takes you to amazing places and he comments on it. He's the narrator, which I think is so cool. I love his voice and I think he's an amazing speaker. So check it out. Then we have exercise. Most people recognize that exercise offers a number of physical benefits, such as stronger muscles, of course, improved fitness and health, and better sleep. But physical activity also strengthens your brain. Exercise, aerobic exercises in particular, can lead to improvements in cognitive abilities like learning and memory. So aerobics, not aerobics, aerobics. According to a literature review from 2018, exercise also helps improve fine motoric coordination and brain connectivity and may protect against cognitive decline. Because if you do different movements, right, you hang there and you pull up and stuff like that, there's quite a lot of different parts of your body included, used at the same time. Another benefit of physical activity as a neuroplasticity exercise it helps promote increased blood flow and cell growth in the brain, which research links to reduced depression symptoms. If you exercise with someone else or in a larger group, you probably see more social benefits too. Strong social connections improve quality of life and emotional wellness. So engaging with others more regularly can be another great way to boost brain health and help relieve symptoms of anxiety and depression. Join that group. Like there's a lot of you who are in my Vitamin W group and Vitamin Women group, which is now in 7 countries around the world. And it's really, prove me wrong, but I think you have met amazing women there and, learned amazing new things, made business with many of them, and just had fun and felt trusted and taken care of by sisters that you don't know or just know online, or that you have actually met already physically for coffee, or you became friends, right? So it's important. If you don't have the group yet, make your own. Who says you can't? So do that. And then last but not least, make art. My friend from Sakanana, Claire in Luxembourg, make art. There was an article just in the review in Luxembourg. It saved her. She was really totally into depression, and she had really cognitive problems and all kinds of other side effects from the depression. And the art really saved her. And now she is a very renowned artist. She makes the most amazing handbags and all hand-drawn paintings and t-shirts and all kinds of other things. And she's just incredible. She creates these beautiful, don't I have one here? Well, sadly not in my husband's office, but I do have some bags from her. And the quality is just amazing. But what she does these drawings of women. And she did one for me where she did a drawing of me, kind of like a woman, very curvy, which I love. I don't have so many curves, but I really felt flattered. And then with like a ponytail, and then the 2 boys for Gabriel and Noah with their polo kits. And I really loved it. She has a lot of talent, and art really helped her. So just get drawing. I have this here as well, which I showed you last week, which is, as simple as that. Make art. If you think you cannot draw a face or a pigeon or whatever, that is not your thing, don't worry, you don't need to. There's also other things such as these, which they literally throw at you in all kinds of shops. They are everywhere now, right? You can just draw. And it says, draw and relax. Right? There's all kinds of things. And then these have some quotes on the sides, which is very nice. They say, here it says, to be calm is a superpower. There you go. Especially nowadays, I would actually agree on that. So that's that. So embrace that. Research from 2015 suggests art forms such as drawing and painting directly benefit your brain by enhancing creativity and improving cognitive abilities. Artistic pursuits can also help create new pathways and strengthen existing connections in your brain, leading to better cognitive functions overall. No artistic experience? No problem. Like many skills, artistic abilities often improve with time and practice. So even if you just do that little stick man at the beginning, don't worry about it. I am not better as well, but just keep going and do it for yourself. You don't do it for anyone else. And even with that, just do it. Just do it. Get that big 12, put it somewhere, get some color and get going, Do it in the morning instead of journaling if you don't want to journal, because we have to talk about the benefits of journaling in the morning, and I would still recommend you do that. But if your journaling is not for you, maybe you draw. Put it next to your bed, and as soon as you get out of bed, just sit on the side of your bed, and for 5 minutes you just draw whatever you want, right? And even put a mirror there so you see yourself draw. I think that would be really nice and really cool. So YouTube offers plenty of painting tutorials as well. And there's these painting parties where you can call. They have it in Luxembourg, they have it in Florida, they have it here in Switzerland. You can call someone, they bring the canvases, the colors, everything, and you can have a party. So wine and champagne or non-alcoholic stuff, pizza, sushi, whatever you want with your friends, 6, 7, 15.
y pues tengo la tarjeta, entonces, y no puedo hacer transferencias desde mi teléfono porque la aplicación no la tengo.
There you go. Perfect. So, just do that. And I think it's really great because they bring everything, and I have done it with Gabla Noah, and it's hilarious. We actually did a Monet painting, and it was so great, and it looked so real after, and we were so proud. So great family time and friends time, and yeah, your neuroplasticity grows. So embrace unfocusing. Even simple doodling, as I said in the morning, first thing, can help. It can benefit by activating the brain's default mode network, which allows your brain to briefly unfocus. This occasional mental downtime directly relates to neuroplasticity. Letting your brain rest can improve creativity, interrupt unwanted habits, help you find new solutions to problems. So next time you find yourself waiting on something with empty hands, pick up a pen and get doodling. Also, art can help promote relaxation, so consider building time for art into your week. Involve your partner and family too. As I said before, these art evenings are really cool. They're not expensive and it's nice. Or you can even do it yourself. Go into an art shop and create your own art show in the evening where you can all paint whatever you have found, and you do a Zoom computer and you do it all the tutorial from the computer. So bottom line, Crystal says, experts previously believed that at any given point in life, your brain could no longer change or develop further. Now we all know that's not true. With a bit of time and patience, you can rewire your brain, which may help with certain mental health symptoms and protect against cognitive decline. With that in mind, we're going over to the exercise part, which is about Dr. Joe Dispenza. Baby is taking a shower in the back and he really is not happy. Let me just tell my husband. Voila, that he knows. Voila. So we will be talking about Dr. Joe Dispenza, and then it will follow with a meditation that he has put on YouTube for people to use. So I can use it because it is publicly available. And I'm not getting any money from this. This is just for a study. So I thought I'd use it because it's really, really great. So Dr. Joe holds a Bachelor of Science degree and is a doctor of chiropractic. His postgraduate training includes the fields of neuroscience and neuroplasticity, quantitative electroencephalogram measurements, epigenetics, mind-body medicine, and brain-heart coherence. This is also a very, very big part of my PhD, the epigenetics, mind-body medicine, and brain-heart coherence. So I have a lot of study on that. And if you want to have more on that, please get in touch with me. I can always share some of the resources I have in my coursework. As a researcher, lecturer, author, and corporate consultant, his interest lies in demystifying the mystical so that people have all the tools within their reach to make measurable changes in their life. Dr. Joe works on being the living example of everything he teaches. He also appreciates good fine wine and food, we all do, communicating with nature, we all do, hug a tree sometimes, right? And being around highly creative people. So he is our man, if I may say. So without further ado, we start the meditation. It's around, I think it's around 10 minutes long. Oops.
Why is meditation the tool?
Here we go. There you go. Yes, it is 16 minutes long. Neuroplasticity, so a powerful meditation by Dr. Joe Dispenza, which you find on YouTube. It has 9,500 views, and he put it on a year ago. And I thought it would be perfect for a class today. So if you want, please put out your screen again, if you want to have some privacy. And I will also do this meditation with you guys. And yeah, then after we will do the wrap up of our session today. But please enjoy. And, he has a lot of books he has written. Just go on your local bookshop or Amazon even and put Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dispenza. He has amazing resources. He has his own website as well with his studies, meditations, his retreats as well. Definitely something to check out. So yeah, here we go. I give over to Joe, if you're all ready. And yeah, let's do this. I will also put my screen so I can also meditate. Oops. What have I done now? Get you guys back. I don't know why. Well, I know you're still there. So see what it did now. Zoom share.
Amy. So then when you do that properly and you're not eating anything or smelling anything or tasting anything, you're not up experiencing and feeling anything, you would have to agree with me that you're being defined by a thought, right? So when the body wants to go back to its emotional past and you become aware that your attention is on that emotion, and where you place your attention is where you place your energy, you're siphoning your energy out of the present moment into the past, and you become aware of that. And you settle your body back down in the present moment, because it's saying, well, it's 8 o'clock. You normally get upset because you're in traffic around this time. And here you are sitting, and we're used to feeling anger, and you're off schedule. Oh, it's 11 o'clock, and you usually check your emails and judge everybody. Well, the body's looking for that predictable chemical state. Every time you become aware that you're doing that and your body is craving those emotions and you settle it back down into the present moment, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind. And now your will is getting greater than the program. And if you keep doing this over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, just like training a stallion or a dog, it's just going to say, I'm going to sit. And the moment that happens, and the body's no longer the mind, when it finally surrenders, there's a liberation of energy. We go from particle to wave, from matter to energy, and we free ourselves from the chains of those emotions that keep us in the familiar past. And we've seen this thousands of times. In fact, we can actually predict it now on a brain scan. Let your body believe that it's in the experience because it's emotionally experiencing it. We're moving into the future. Now there's another potential for you to exist free from the chains of the old self. That potential exists right now. And I want you to teach your body emotionally what it would feel like so that it begins to believe it's in the actual experience of freedom now. Come on, let go. Let your body feel freedom so that it thinks it's in the experience. And I want you to signal your body emotionally to feel the joy of how you would feel. So the body begins to be in a future potential now, emotionally. And there's a potential for you to have all your needs met and be wealthy. And I want you to instruct your body to experience wealth and the joy of riches ahead of the actual event, so your body thinks it's in the experience. Open up those pathways down to your body so you feel it. If you feel it, your body thinks it's in the experience. It doesn't know the difference. Now there's a potential in the field for a genius mind and quicksilver thoughts, insights that take you to new horizons, and the electricity that's created from an open mind. Teach your body emotionally the joy and the inspiration of what that would feel like, so the body begins to experience your genius and think that it's in the event now. And there's a possibility existing simultaneously in the quantum field of the vitality of a new life, rich with opportunity, an awe for adventure, and a sense of unbelievability where you feel like you're in a dream. And there's a potential in the quantum field that all your prayers are answered. That possibility finds you. That its prayers are being answered now. being inspired means to see a future without obstacles, to see a potential without sweating the details, to know that you're connected to a new reality. Lift yourself up and memorize this feeling of possibility and be open in the expectation of the unknown. And now one more deep, slow breath. Bring it all the way to the top. As you exhale now, release it into the field. And now slowly, very slowly, when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Voila. So this concludes our meditation for today. I really like this one. And as you can see and hear, well, as you can hear, there's all of these vibrations in the background. And yeah, just also what he says. And yeah, everything is really thought through how he does it. And I think, yeah, I always feel extremely refreshed. I don't know about you guys, but I feel very, you know, it's just, he gives us a lot of breaks as well of his guiding. So it's really nice where you can reflect. So if you do guided meditations, if you want to start doing that for other people as well, always remember to do some breaks so people can really bath in the feeling of, or the experience that is happening at the moment. So this kind of concludes already week 8. We're done. Thank you so much for the most amazing time as always. I cannot wait to see you next week for week 9, for when we talk all about nutrition. And then week 10 will be big Q&A session. We'll see if I record that one or not. Probably not. So we will just hang out, talk about all the weeks, all Q&As, where we talk about each other, experiences, and everything else. So really big wrap up. So next week will be, yeah, possibly our last class. And then week 10 will be a review on all the classes where you can go really into detail about everything. So Alexandra, she said Mooji meditations are great as well. MOOJI meditations are great as well. So check it out. Maria put sakanana.lu for the website of the bags of Claire, the artist. And yes, this is it from me to you. I would stop recording now, and then we can do the wrap up again in private for a minute or two, and then I let you go. So let me see how I can stop this recording from here. Stop share. There you go. So without further ado, thank you for joining week 8. Cannot wait to see you for week 9. If you have any questions, get in touch. You know how to get in touch with me. Hi, Ruru. And hi, everyone, again. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask them now.